Hi, team. Welcome to the show. Thanks for listening today. Today in Portland, Oregon, it is like a rainy, kind of balmy gray day. And I actually kind of love it because it's like a nice little reprieve from the heat that we've been having. And I don't want it to last too long, but it's kind of like a nice little change. It feels kind of energizing. So, anyway, today I want to talk about a concept that can help you feel more supported in your life in good times and in bad. One of the big complaints from people, whether it's coming from my patients or from coaching clients, is this sentiment: I'm so overwhelmed and I'm so anxious. And this is a very common experience. I think most everyone can relate to this feeling on some level. Oftentimes, when I dig deeper with people and we look at the overwhelm and the anxiety, the underlying emotion is fear, right? Which is very easy to understand. There are no shortage of stressors in the world. There's no shortage of opportunities to be fearful if you're watching the news or you're on social media. And there are seasons of life that can just come at you very fast with challenges that we never anticipate. It's in these moments when the fear is high or the stress is high, the anxiety is really peaking. When I look at people and I ask, okay, what does your scaffolding look like? And what I'm talking about is the support network for somebody, whether it's self-created or found in community, that I refer to as scaffolding. I love using this visual of scaffolding around a building as a metaphor for our own personal support system that we create, something that allows us to safely stand and be supported while we build or while we grow, or if we're trying to weather a storm. Regardless of what we're building or growing, we all need a little safety net once in a while. I started thinking about this for myself years ago. What type of scaffolding do I want to build around myself so that I have something supportive to stand on when I need it? Right? When there are times that just come out of nowhere, knock you off your feet, you have to have something to help support you. What are the elements that I want to include in this definition of scaffolding? And for me, the list has grown over the years, and I want to share a few things with you that I think can be an essential part of the framework that is your scaffolding. So, what might we consider to be the sort of important, crucial elements? The first element is community. We all know that community can be incredibly supportive and helpful in times of need when you're struggling and you need people to lift you up. I'm sure that you've experienced that in your life. I've experienced it to very personal degrees in my life. I remember when Leanne was going through breast cancer treatments, we had community that surrounded us and lifted us up. People were making meals for us. They were showing up at our house. They were sending, DoorDash cards and house cleaning and just all these things that felt so life-giving in a time where you were just overwhelmed and anxious and in fear. There is no substitute for community when we are down and out. I also wanted to highlight how community can be a really valuable resource to help you grow also. Community can lift you up as you're reaching for new heights, when you're striving for things, when you're working to achieve something, when you're moving towards your dreams. Community is incredibly supportive in that way. They can cheer you on. They can provide you with inspiration and motivation. And in that way, I think community is also so crucial because when we serve as people's scaffolding, when we are the community around someone, we can help them shine, right? We can help them share their gifts with the world. And the brighter that somebody shines, the more we can all see. I truly believe that, right? We lift each other up. There's no greater power than the power of somebody living in their truth and delivering their unique abilities to the world. And it's really hard to do that by yourself. Community makes it possible. We can all look back on our path of successes and see the people who helped pull us up when we were down, helped us get to where we are now. Another important element to scaffolding that's similar to community is mentorship. I talk about mentorship a lot because I think it's so powerful. Having a few people in your life to serve as mentors in whatever capacity you need, who can really teach you and guide you on your path, man, there is no substitute for that. I remember coming across one of my mentors in Chinese medicine and acupuncture for the very first time 10 years ago. His name is Bob Doan. And the pace at which I grew in my skill and my knowledge working with him, it was unmatched. He changed my entire practice. He changed my view of the medicine. He ultimately influenced and transformed my confidence as a practitioner. I owe him so much. And when I look at each area of my life where I've grown, I can look and see that there was a mentor present. And I'm sure that you can do the same. In every stage of life, there is somebody there who has been before you, has the wisdom and the experience to help teach and guide. Some of my greatest mentors now are my coaches. And yes, I have multiple coaches. I think if you want to be an effective coach, you should have great coaches. But thinking about who in your life is in that mentorship role, who do you have as part of your scaffolding framework in your industry, in your capacity with, whatever your skill set is? Who is standing in that mentorship role for you? Another key element to scaffolding is your health habits. And you hear me talk about this a lot. But health habits, they are like the metal frame that hold up the platforms of the scaffolding that you can stand on, right? They are the essential, they're the foundation. So, what does this look like? Well, it might look like exercise and movement every day, especially strength training and weightlifting. I cannot tell you how many times I've had this conversation with clients and they've said to me, "Oh, Steph, I just have to get a regular exercise routine. It's crucial for my health. It's crucial for my mind, for my stress." And it's true. Every high performer that I've ever met or been in proximity to has some sort of movement routine in their life, one that is consistent. Every single one, team. It's something that's so accessible to people, and it moves the needle so much when it comes to our health and our mental health. I just think it's a critical part of the structure that we need to build for ourselves. In terms of other health habits, it looks like eating healthy food, making sure that metabolism is firing on all cylinders. In my other company, Optimize You, we have a signature coaching program that's centered around helping people heal metabolism and lose excess weight. The reason being, we've seen the value in our clinical experience. We've seen how crucial this health habit is and how much of a pillar it is for people in their lives, because without health, we have nothing. And when you think about the root of our health, we can find metabolism. And people miss this all the time because they associate metabolism with digestion or body composition only. That's kind of it. But what people don't realize is that metabolism is actually our energy system. It is our body's way of turning food into energy for our cells. And it impacts every single system in our body, from our heart to our brain, to our reproductive organs, to our skin, to our eyes, to our liver, to our libido, every single system. And when we put poor quality fuel into our bodies, we get poor quality output. Garbage in, garbage out, low energy. And that's the simplest way to think about it. And so eating good food is essential for a healthy metabolism and therefore a great energy system. And I know you want great energy in your life. Other key health habits to think about: sleep, getting quality sleep. That must be prioritized if you want to have strong scaffolding in your life. And of course, stress management, because our thoughts and feelings have a direct impact on our physical health. There is no separation, and we must care for this body that we are walking around this earth in. And there are so many other important parts of scaffolding that could be personal to you. Maybe you need alone time to recharge in your life. You might be introverted and you just need space to be able to reboot. Maybe you're a very creative person and you need an outlet for that creativity. Maybe it's music or art. It might be time in nature. This is a huge one for people. And I think it's actually incredibly essential for our health and our grounding, being outside, being in nature, untouched by technology, and just remembering that we're a part of something that's so much bigger than us. Another important thing to consider when talking about scaffolding is what I call input. I think of input as any information that I allow to come into my brain, whether it's from podcasts or books or shows or social media. Maybe it's the friends and the peers and people that we surround ourselves with. To be intentional and aware of our input, it's just as important as some of the other things that we've talked about already. Now, we can really push this metaphor to the edge, this idea of scaffolding. I think of it as Something that serves you in all different seasons and weather. Sometimes it's going to be very windy and stormy. You will have seasons like that in your life. And you just need that scaffolding there to maintain the integrity of what you're constructing. Sometimes you'll be in seasons of growth where you're building, maybe you're adding on, making the structure taller. I think of that as self-development and expansion, anything that feels like uncharted territory. Having that scaffolding there gives us a great sense of safety and support. And frankly, it's really hard to build those next sections of a structure without that scaffolding. So my challenge to you today is to think about the type of scaffolding that you've built around yourself. What is it that really holds you up and helps you feel supported? What might you need to build around you? Like what actually serves you and feels helpful? Because we all inevitably have times of challenge, whether it's good or bad. And having some solid scaffolding can be the difference between feeling resilient and steadfast versus overwhelmed and anxious and getting knocked down. So I hope you're having some insights here about what it might look like for you to create some really sturdy scaffolding in your life. Here's to a really incredible week. Thank you for listening and being here. And thank you for being ready to impact. Thanks for listening to Impact Ready. I hope today's episode inspired you to own your impact and recognize that you are powerful. By elevating our energy and awareness, we can create exponential change in this life. If you enjoyed today's insights, share them with a friend and subscribe to the show for more. I truly appreciate you. Thanks again for being here.